Okay. All right, good evening, everyone. We appreciate you being here tonight. I'd like to call this meeting to order. If you would stand, please, we'll have an invocation and our Pledge of Allegiance. Let us pray, please. Heavenly Father, we ask that you would be in this chamber tonight, not only with this council, but those citizens that are here. We pray that you would grant us just a portion of your wisdom as we deliberate the issues of our city. We are grateful, Heavenly Father, that the storm that we just recently dealt with was not as severe, did not bring hardship on the people in this community, and we're grateful for that, and we thank you. And I make all this in your Son's name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. If there's no objection from council, we have several people here tonight that want to speak. And unless I hear some objection, let's move on to the speakers, and they may have other things they want to do besides sit here and listen to our meeting. Okay, so Ms. Sherry, number one.
This is my first time publicly speaking at a meeting like this, so please bear with me.
You'll be fine.
But it's that important to me. Hello, Congressman, Councilwomen, and Mr. Mayor. My name is Sherry Dykstra, and I am here to discuss a couple of issues regarding our school board and the elementary school. A few weeks ago, I was made aware of a PES tag parent group that is being administered by Krista Goodale. You all know her husband, Tim, because you have appointed him as a PCPS school board member. I am aware of a meeting Krista had with Mrs. Grisco and Mrs. Brown, and also an email to the parents of how to opt out their student from spring testing if their actions were not met. Some tag parents do not know how Krista obtained their name or email. I am curious how much information Krista has been privy to by her husband for her quest. Staffing of TAG and PES apparently was an issue, but the decision was made around September the 5th to take specialists away from their responsibilities to give daily instruction and planning for TAG. Taking specialists away to teach the top 10% of our students is not creative, it's reckless and unacceptable. The specialists should be moved back into their much-needed roles immediately, because after the PALS testing, we all know there's about 150 kids who need that help. In light of all I knew, I watched the school board meeting last week and was disappointed to see the elaborate presentation on revamping the TAG program. It's worth mentioning how coincidental the timing seems to be with this TAG presentation and Krista's email to the parents, along with threats she has made to the administration. By threats, I mean opting out of the SOL testing. Not anything violent. It's interesting to also note that at least 4 school board members have children at PES in the TAG program, and 1 school board member that you've appointed is married to a TAG teacher at the elementary school. I am confident that they are all aware of Krista's steps along the way. I am also interested to know if the school board members raised any kind of flag regarding specialists being away from children who need intervention. You'll see in the packet I'm getting ready to give all of you. Each of you will get a copy of Krista Goodale's email, copies of messages that the school has sent parents regarding specialists that are going to be teaching the TAG program. They're teaching them now. Please keep in mind the dates of the messages as they relate to Krista's email to the parents. Clearly, threats were made to the administration to act quickly for this TAG program. I encourage all parents to advocate for their child, but not at the expense that services are taken away from children who need it the most. And when you make threats, when your husband is a sitting school board member, I am requesting that you all please look into this, and please remind every school board member, the mission of Poquoson City Schools is to prepare all students for a successful and meaningful life. Thank you.
Sherry, thank you. If you've got some information, would you give it to Kim, please? Thank you, Sherry. We keep this thing in the family. Tim?
Sir. Good evening. Mayor, Council, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. My name is Tim Dykstra. I reside at 20 Emmaus in Poquoson. And my comments are regarding the specialists at PES that are currently placed in classes to teach and plan the TAG program. Following is a quote, or is a fact, or quote, from Letters workbook created by professors Lisa C. Motes and Carol A. Tolman. The progression of typical reading development begins around age 5 and continues for about 6 years until the full reading fluency is achieved. Sophisticated reading comprehension is the goal of 8 to 16-year-old schooling. Most students need instruction, practice, and incremental learning to read proficiently at advanced levels. So most of the council, if not all of you, should know me from my interviews for the open school board positions. If you recall, during one of my interviews, I spoke about the need for the school board, the schools, and the parents to all be working together to create the best environment for our children to learn. I am all for parents with passion for helping improve that environment, but it cannot be at the detriment to others. We need to raise the bar for all of our students, not one specific group. Every single day, a student with needs is denied the help they need to improve is another day those students are falling farther behind. Together, we can do better. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tim. Paul, I'm not going to try to ruin your last name. Is it Paul Schubert? Schubert. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor,
Good
council,
evening.
staff. My name is Paul Schubert. I live on Hudgens here in Poquoson, and I've lived there all of 5 months now. I'm here to talk to you very briefly about sidewalks and the lack thereof. Last week, while it was kind of dreary out, I decided to take a walk, and I mapped out a little route, and regrettably I mapped myself a route to Old Florida. And I wish I had spelunking gear because those ditches on the roadside are deep and real close to the roadbed. Got back home and I wrote Councilman Fye about this, and he gave me the background information. This is not a new topic for the city, and it's been decades. For me, it's not a new topic either, because before I moved here, I came from Virginia Beach, the Shore Drive area, in the community called Ocean Park, and I've been a long-time advocate for contiguous sidewalks for Shore Drive, which still aren't done. From that experience, I learned that capital improvement projects are complex and they take a lot of time and a lot of effort. But they start with the foresight of the sitting city council to kick the ball down the street, get it going. The bigger challenge is the subsequent council that is going to sit here to keep the same motivation and keep the project going and not deal with distractions which often come up. You never know when Pharrell's going to show up and have his hand out because something's in the water. So I'm asking this council, if this is a good idea, and I think it warrants it, you've made a move to lower speed limits in the walking areas where our students walk to and from school. And our young adults walk those same areas, down Hudgens, down to the 7-Eleven to get a Slurpee or maybe a Bud Light. And us old guys who like to keep our knees flexed want to get out and walk too. And it would be nice if it was a little bit safer environment to do that. So I hope this council has the foresight and maybe get the city staff to put a capital improvement project together and get some sidewalks. With that, I thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. Thank you. Paul, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
I've been called for.
You can't even imagine what I've been called. Stephanie Corbett, did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's my first time publicly speaking too, so, okay. Hi there, my name is Stephanie Corbett, and I'm the parent of a 6th grader at Poquoson Middle School. My child was a 4th grade student 2 years ago at Poquoson Elementary and qualified for Title I math services. A lot of kids suffered learning loss due to COVID, school shutdowns, and virtual learning. I'm sure y'all are well aware of this as it's happening nationwide. When I found out he was going to have access to a math specialist, that gave me confidence that he would get caught up. Unfortunately, he was only able to see her one time per week during an encore with other group of students. To reiterate, that was for one class period, one time a week. That was not enough. So for the following year, we homeschooled him so we could focus on closing that gap ourselves. That is not an option for every family, and the need to have all available resources focused on closing that learning loss gap in the school setting is crucial. When I saw the emails that Sherry brought up, showing where a person or people well connected with a school board appear to be strong-arming the elementary school into redirecting those specialist resources to focus on the TAG program instead, I knew I had to speak up. Lucky for the TAG program, it seems they will now be getting daily instruction, whereas my child only got one day, and it was for one period. Tell me, are we directing the capabilities of these specialists at the right group of students? I'm glad to hear we have kids that are excelling above normal standards and are high performers, but that doesn't mean the kids who are struggling to achieve basic levels should be left behind and denied resources that are desperately needed. I would really appreciate it if City Council could look into this. I feel like there's a conflict of interest with some school board members in the TAG program due to connections and self-interest. Emails like the one sent by the TAG group could be perceived as unethical and be viewed as threatening to the elementary schools with their calls to action to serve as punishment if their demands are not met. The repercussions of what's going on right now at the elementary school aren't going to be seen for the next 7 to 10 years. Not having those learning gaps filled and fundamentals learned can have a domino effect on the educational journey of our struggling students. Every student in Poquoson deserves a quality education and the chance to graduate. Focusing those resources on the high achievers, it may make the difference in a few extra college acceptance letters to choose from. But focusing those resources on underperforming kids who have that learning loss gap, that can make the difference between actually graduating high school or dropping out. That's a big difference. And as a reminder, PCPS's mission statement is to prepare all students for a successful and meaningful life. I really hope that the City Council is able to look into this. I don't know that the entire school board would be able to approach this without bias due to self-interests in the TAG program. Thank you for your time listening to my concerns and the concerns of others who feel the same way but are unable to speak here tonight due to prior obligations and fears of retribution.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Tricia?
Good evening.
Good
Thank
evening.
you for this opportunity to speak here this evening. My name is Trish Renone, and I reside at 114 White House Drive in Poquoson. I have a 17-year-old son that used to attend Poquoson High School. I am here tonight because I will always be an advocate for students of special education. As a mom, I did whatever I could to do in my means to see that my son had the best education possible through his IEP with Poquoson Public Schools. There was a time in elementary school that I had asked if there was a reading specialist on staff to help my son. He was struggling with his reading comprehension, but at that time, unfortunately, they didn't have a reading specialist on staff. So fast forward, after a couple more years in Poquoson schools, his needs were still not being met. So we decided to make a change to better suit his educational needs and also decided to homeschool my son. I'm here tonight because there are still many students like my sons that need help. It seems they are still slipping through the cracks. When I viewed the last school board meeting, I was completely taken back by the amount of focus on the TAG kids, and at the same time, no discussion was made for our general ed students or special education students. Most parents that have a student with a 504 plan or IEP would more than likely have the very same thoughts that I felt. All these opportunities for TAG students, but nothing mentioned for our other students. May I remind all PCP mission about the mission statement. Poquoson City Public Schools educates and prepares all students for success in college and career and for responsible citizenship. I encourage all of you to watch the last school board meeting. Everything that was presented to you tonight by Sherry and others will be presented in that meeting. You will see how the timeline is set and the request, as she has mentioned, as Sherry has mentioned. It's completely unfair if these students with disabilities lose very important milestones without reading help at this crucial age, because they have taken a reading specialist and placed her in a tag classroom to fill the demands of these tag parents. I have been told that the reading specialist does spend some time with gen ed students, but let's be realistic. How can she possibly be a tag teacher and help with gen ed students with reading difficulties? All the planning involved as well as time, this may be the very reason why we are unable to properly staff Poquoson City Schools. How can teachers be expected to do all of these things? It is crucial at this stage that reading goals are met. Do you know what happens if we can't meet goals at this age? It is a direct impact on students' success or failure in high school. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Tricia. We appreciate it. All right, let's move to our special presentation. By the way, was there anyone else that we missed? Okay. All right. Thank you all for being here. We have a special presentation. I'm going to ask Gretchen, if she would come forward. Gretchen, before you make your introductions and introduce Angela, this Poquoson is the place was kind of your idea. And I know you've worked extremely hard, not only on this video, but just different projects around the community that show people that Poquoson hopefully is the place to be. So not only are you a valued employee, you've done a magnificent job over the years, not just with Seafood Festival, not just with Poquoson as a place, but anything that you've done, it's always been 100%. And so, on behalf of this council, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
And you can take it from here.
Well, I didn't edit this special presentation, but we had a great cinematographer to do some of those duties for us. Mayor and members of council, and those of you at home and here in attendance tonight, thank you for having me. We have done a number of things that have allowed us to highlight the city and the wonderful place that it is. And the first part of that started over 10 years ago. And it began with a very short and small video. And over time, our city has grown in a number of ways and had a number of renovations and new iterations. And it was time to bring our current video to the year 2023. So tonight, we are very pleased and excited to present Poquoson resident and award-winning cinematographer and video extraordinaire, and who we rely on as a great resource for us, who does the heavy lifting and has a lot of ideas that help all of us look great and our city look great, Miss Angela Costello. And I would like to invite her to the podium because we're going to get to see her work.
Absolutely.
And,
welcome, Angela.
She's going to present to us a really great opportunity to see the modern version of Poquoson is the Place.
And if you could indulge me for just a moment, 10 years ago, I had access to we were filming some other things, and I had the great pleasure of having the helicopter with the Discovery Channel camera on the bottom of it. And I flew all 87 miles of the city, all the coastline of the city of Poquoson. And then as we began to cut across, see, I'm a native. And I grew up here, but I've traveled the world doing cinematography and business and these other things. And Dorothy had it right, there's no place like home. But what I began to see are the things that my dad and mom had always told me about. All the legends, all the stories, all the imprints of the houses in the marshes, all the places that I grew up traveling that now I can see the inlet. It's funny from the air how different things look and how truly beautiful things become when you put it in perspective of where you live. So we took a few minutes, we filmed some new footage. We changed a few things, and I hope you enjoy this presentation.
Poquoson is the place where your morning can start a little differently, where 87 miles of shoreline welcome exploration and are the canvas for beautiful scenery and peaceful wildlife. Poquoson is also the place to be because of its inspiring people and bright future. The feel of being part of a community that's committed to the quality of life is a special part of what makes Poquoson the place to be. There's a unique way of life here that embraces family, neighbors, friends, and tradition. Poquoson has been included on CNBC's list of top 10 perfect suburbs in America and recently received recognition as one of the healthiest communities in Virginia. New construction is providing even more opportunities for families to experience life in Poquoson and the joy of coastal living. A new way of life is just minutes from NASA and Langley Air Force Base. Just 7 miles from the interstate. It's an opportunity to experience the wealth of Poquoson extent as you discover your new hometown. Poquoson was recently recognized as one of the safest and most peaceful places to live in Virginia, thanks to the men and women who serve our community on our local police and fire departments. With award-winning schools and teachers and well-equipped facilities, Poquoson welcomes children of all ages. The city's public school system routinely ranks as one of the finest in Virginia. Poquoson students, clubs, and athletic teams compete with great success annually on the state and national competition levels and are celebrated, supported, and encouraged by the community. Poquoson is passionate about achievement and opportunities for children. Poquoson's business corridor is home to a relaxed, unhurried setting, making it a perfect day trip for visitors or an easy grocery run for residents. In fact, Poquoson's natural market area includes nearly 40,000 people who utilize the city's library, B&B, and retail commercial area for its time-saving convenience and quality of service. Poquoson offers a variety of recreational opportunities for all ages, from award-winning gardening and green spaces to ball fields and walking trails. Poquoson offers the space to enjoy life a little more. Poquoson also features a community pool and playgrounds that encourage enjoyment and relaxation just minutes from your doorstep. The community features outstanding marinas, year-round boat slip rental opportunities, and tax-free boating. The city's free public boat ramps provide quick, convenient access to the surrounding waterway, which is just 15 minutes from the Chesapeake Bay. In celebration of its vast natural resources, rich history, and changing seasons, the Poquoson Seafood Festival hosts thousands of visitors every October for one of the state's best and most delicious family-friendly events. Poquoson is the place that the Algonquin Indians affectionately call the place of great beauty and tradition. That legacy continues to provide the best seafood in the world and warmly welcomes new generations to its shoreline. It's time to live the life you've always imagined. Poquoson is the place to be, and you're invited.
Angela, that was outstanding.
Poquoson.
It is indeed the place.
Well, there is that.
Angela, thank you so much. That was wonderful. Gretchen, thank you. Dave, appreciate it. Alrighty, let's move on to our audience for visitors. I mean, we've heard from some folks. Is there anyone else in our audience who would like to address council on any issue? Okay, if not, we'll move on to approval of minutes, regular session, September 11th, 2023.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the minutes of our September 11, 2023 meeting.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion made second that we adopt the minutes from our regular session, September the 11th, 2023. Any concerns, comments, additions, any corrections or questions? If not, Ms. Kim, please.
Councilwoman Emmett. Aye. Councilman Hucks.
Aye.
Councilman Fye.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Councilwoman Bunting.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Mayor Hessel.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
All right, thanks, Kim. Let's move on to new business. First item is an ordinance amending the Personnel Policy Manual, retiree health coverage. I think every member of council has discussed that with the city manager this week. I didn't hear any issues regarding that, so if someone's prepared with the motion.
Mr. Mayor, I propose an ordinance amending the Personnel Policy Manual, retiree health insurance coverage.
Okay.
Second.
All right, motion made second that we adopt the ordinance. Any concerns, comments? If not, Ms. Kim?
Councilman Fye.
Aye.
Councilwoman Bunting.
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett. Aye. Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Councilman Hucks.
Aye.
Mayor Hessel.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, thanks, Kim. Second item under new business, resolution making an appointment to the Architectural Review Board. Ms. Angie, I think you,
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, I move that we appoint Ms. Shanda Madriaga to the Architectural Review Board for a term that will expire January 31st of 2024.
Second.
all right, motion made second, we adopt the resolution with that name inserted. Any comments, any questions? Okay, Ms. Kim?
Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Emmett. Aye. Councilman Southall. Councilman Fye.
Aye.
Councilman Hucks.
Aye.
Councilwoman Bunting.
Aye.
Mayor Hessel.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
All right, thanks, Kim. Comments to city manager?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, two items. They're related to one another. As you mentioned in the prayer, our community fared much better than some others with the most recent storm. And I wanted to take time to thank all of the folks that work to make sure that our community is ready before, during, and when necessary after. And those include, in no particular order, our PIO, who's also our librarian, Jessica Hartley, Dave and Gretchen, in numerous capacities, police department, fire department, public works, utilities. Also, traditionally, as council knows, we've been able to use the Langley Speedway to help that needed a place to park. Well, they had a large event this week, so we needed to call an audible, and we got some great assistance from both Emmy's Baptist Church, Victory Church, and the school system. You know, they allowed us to direct citizens to the high school and the primary school lot as well. So I want to thank all of those folks. And after a storm is over, the most persistent question that we get usually relates to when and if we're going to do a debris pickup. And so with your indulgence, I'll read one paragraph because I don't want to get anything wrong. Storm-related pickup of landscape and bulk debris will begin on Monday, October the 2nd, so that's a week from today. Gives folks a weekend to put stuff out. Debris should be placed curbside or roadside by 7 a.m. on Monday, October the 2nd. We would ask that they don't put the debris in the street, and certainly don't put it in a storm drain, but right to the edge of the road allows us to get it with our equipment. We'd ask that debris or the landscape debris or other debris not be bagged if it's really storm debris. Makes it easier for us to get it. And also, we'd ask folks that are setting out both things that were damaged and also limbs and things like that to separate those into two piles. Again, that makes it easier for us to pick it up. Any resident needing service after, well, I should say, beginning next Monday, we'll make that pickup. We'll pick up every street one time. So if residents need additional assistance beyond that, we do have ways to help them with that, with the bulk pickups at their house or the convenience site. If they have any questions about any of this, please contact Public Works at 757-868-3590. That's all I have, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir. David?
Thank you, Gordon. I'd like to thank all of our speakers tonight. We really do appreciate y'all coming and sharing your thoughts with us. One of our goals is to hold meetings where we have a hospitable and cordial environment. So if y'all felt comfortable speaking with us tonight, and please feel free to come back at any time. That's what we're here for. Thanks so much for that. And also to Dave, Gretchen, and Angela, really enjoyed the presentation. Top-notch work as always, and it reflects very positively on. Thank you,
Sir,
Gordon.
Debbie?
I would like to thank everyone for coming, sharing their thoughts and their concerns as well. Thanks to Angela and Dave and Gretchen for that. It was very moving. Someone who is a native, and especially with my background, my dad being a waterman, it was very, thank you very much for that. And to echo what the mayor said, thanks to everyone who, before the storm, during, and after, making sure that the citizens were safe. At some point Saturday, I rode through the intersection. It was pouring raining, and one of our police officers was there directing traffic because the light was out there at McDonald's. And thanks to those people that, worked tirelessly to make sure we were safe. We're just very thankful for that, and thankful that it wasn't any worse than it was.
Thanks, Dale. Keith?
Yes, thank you, Paul, for coming out, and the rest of you as well. I appreciate hearing from you. Things that are coming up tomorrow morning is our mobile food pantry, Parks and Rec building. For those that would like to come out and help volunteer, the Masonic Lodge is hosting it this time, or this month, but it's 08:30 for those military types is when we start with the setup, and distribution begins at 10 o'clock. Also, on top of that there's a Blue Star Welcome, which is basically military folks that are new to the area, being hosted by the library. The notice is out. It's going to be this coming Thursday, the 28th at 6 p.m. At the Poquoson Library. According to the flyer, it's hosted by the Friends of the Library, Marco's Pizza, the Kiwanis Club, and the Lions Club. And one last thing is, and I'd be in trouble if I didn't say it, happy birthday to my wife. That's all I got.
You would be in trouble.
Yeah.
Bud?
Believe it or not, Gordon, you're just about taking the wind out of my sail. Everyone has said everything I want to comment, with the exception of thanking the people at home for paying attention to the city council, and I will second the thanks to the people who came out here tonight. All the comments have been made thus far, including by Randy for our city staff and first responders, I'm sorry. And I would also like to thank Angela, Dave, and Gretchen for their fine work on that video. That is excellent. I thought the first one was great. This is even better. So thank you so very much, and I appreciate that.
Angie?
I would also like to thank the speakers for coming out. Full disclosure, I do have a 5th grader in the TAG program. I do also have a 3rd grader who has struggled a lot, and particularly with her speech, and we've had to enroll her in private tutoring to try to get her to catch up. So I've had both sides of that. Thank you for mentioning the Blue Star Week. The Hello Neighbor Pizza Party, open to the military and civilian families. And speaking of the library, I just wanted to give a shout out to the library and the EDA for the Hidden Library Card Scavenger Hunt. That was a very clever way to put a spotlight on our local businesses and promote our library and show that the Poquoson is the place. And speaking of Poquoson as a place, we do have at least 2 new businesses in town that I know of. We have a restaurant and a coffee shop that have chosen Poquoson. So it's great to have those new businesses, and thank you for that video.
Thanks, Angie. Carrie?
Angie Keith and I went to a nonprofit kind of, I guess, seminar And there's a lot of need out there, not our community, but regionally. And not only do they need food and shelter, but they also need volunteers. So anyone that's interested in volunteering for any of these, I think there's 53 agencies, they would love to talk to you. And other than what's already been.
Okay, all right. Anybody else?
Yeah, Gordon,
Yes, sir.
I did leave out one important comment.
Sure.
Okay? Happy birthday to my bride.
You saved her.
Your wife has a birthday, and you have a birthday?
My bride does.
Your bride does. Okay,
Yes.
well, happy birthday to both of them. All righty, let's have a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Motion made, second, we adjourn. Ms. Kim?
Councilman Hugs. Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman. Councilwoman Emmett.
Aye.
Councilwoman Bunting.
Aye.
Councilman Fye.
Aye.
Mayor Hessel. Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Thank you, ma'am. We all adjourn.